Hi YouTube, Watch Fire with another video. A while back I did an unboxing video on this Nodus Retrospect 3 automatic diver, but I never did a full review video on it. So here it is. A little background on Nodus: it's a Los Angeles based microbrand that was founded in 2017. According to their website, their watches are designed and assembled in Los Angeles, California, and they use Miyota and Seiko based NH35 automatic movements in their watches. They currently have 4 watch lines, those being the Retrospect Dive line, the Sector series that has Dive, Field, Sport, and Pilot variants, the Contrail, which looks like a dive watch but is described as a travel watch with its bidirectional bezel, and their Duality line that has a bidirectional inner rotating bezel. It looks like they have a new watch in development called the Avalon 2, which reminds me of a Seiko Turtle with its 43.5mm cushion-shaped case. I first heard about this brand from YouTube, and during that time, their Retrospect 3 watch was still in development. I got interested in it, so I waited until it was officially released and then got one. Having owned this Retrospect model for almost 6 months, here are my thoughts on this watch. I think this watch may be an underrated or perhaps overlooked watch, maybe having something to do with its microbrand status, and I feel it's flown under the radar for much of the watch enthusiast community. In my opinion, it's a really attractive looking 200-meter diver. I got the salmon dial variant since I didn't have any watches in my collection with that dial color. I think it was executed well here, with the color not coming across as too pinkish and thus remaining subtle. The dial has a sunburst effect, and you can see brushing that radiates out from the center of the dial. The indice cutouts are sharply defined triangles, with 12, 3, and 9 o'clock being longer, while the indice at 6 o'clock is cut off to make room for the unframed beveled date window. The indices are outlined in black, and that matches the black outer minute track running along the edge of the dial. The rehaut has a satiny look and is color matched to the dial. This watch uses C3X1 Superluminova on the indices and hands, and it glows green as you can see here. The printed Nodus logo is seen in black near 12 o'clock, and I like how the font and logo are not overly large and distracting. They also did this near 6, where you can see the word Retrospect in black and in a much thinner font. Of note, and another nice small touch, is that you can see the date wheel is color matched to the dial. The hands are sword-shaped and done in black to help contrast against the lighter colored dial. The seconds hand is also in black with a fan-shaped counterbalance and lumed arrow tip that is outlined in blue, which is the only hint of color on the watch other than the black and salmon colors. I measured the case size on this watch at 41.7mm, but of note, that's actually the diameter of the bezel, which extends beyond the 40.5mm case. This watch is pretty thick at 13.9mm, and the lug-to-lug distance comes in at 48mm. Finally, the lug width is 22mm. The case appears all brushed except for the polished chamfered edge. However, if you remove the bracelet, you'll find the area between the lugs is also polished. To my untrained eye, this case finishing looks pretty good, and it's interesting how the bottom millimeter of the case is a smaller diameter than the rest of the case. You get drilled lug holes, a solid screw-down case back, and a signed crown. The case back is tastefully done in my opinion. The outer part is polished while the inner section is brushed, with the watch information barely noticeable. I like how they chose not to put a large engraving here like some other watch brands do. Size for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, the watch weighs in at 158 grams. The crown is well done at 7.3mm, and the screw down action is smooth with a pop once the threads are cleared. The bezel is a unidirectional coin edge bezel that has polishing on the top edge. The rotation action is smooth and crisp sounding, and the alignment is spot on. The bezel insert on this variant is black, but on other color variants of this watch it matches the dial color. This one is brushed ceramic, and it slopes downwards towards the crystal, which is something I don't often see, but I like how it turned out here. The numerals and markers on the bezel insert are lumed with C1X1 superluminova, except for the arrow marker, which shares the same C3X1 as the dial and hands. This watch has a double dome sapphire crystal with a blue anti-reflective undercoating. The stainless steel bracelet is notable because it has quick change spring bars included. The surface of the H-links are brushed and the sides are polished. The bracelet tapers from 21.8 millimeters to 17.8 millimeters where it meets the clasp, and the links are held together with screws. You can see from the side shot that the links are pretty thin and they measure only 3 millimeters thick. The bracelet has a milled clasp and a double push button release. The Nodus logo is subtly engraved onto the clasp, and you can see the exterior of the clasp is brushed with a polished chamfer. The clasp includes 3 micro adjustment holes. The movement in this watch is the well-known workhorse NH35 automatic movement that hacks, hand winds, and has a 41-hour power reserve. I know that's a commonly seen movement on a watch that's marketed as a higher-end diver, but I feel it was used here for its reliability. The value add that Nodus does when you buy this watch is that they regulate it for you and include the regulation information on a card that's in the box. This is great touch and something that I've only seen with this watch when it comes to my affordable to semi-affordable watch collection. I found the accuracy to be great, and I haven't needed to open the watch at all to adjust the regulation. Here it is on my time grapher. There are a lot of good things to say about this Nodus Retrospect 3. The little details included indicate to me that a lot of thought was put into the design of the watch. I feel this is one of those watches that looks like an expensive watch to the casual observer. Speaking of cost, this watch sells for $450 on the Nodus website. When ordering from them, you can choose to have a stainless steel bezel insert instead of the black lume ceramic one. These watches aren't available from major online retailers like Amazon. I looked on eBay and only saw one pre-owned for sale at $100 over retail. My purchase experience when ordering from Nodus was pretty smooth, and I don't recall any problems or delays in getting the watch. The other colorways of this watch are blue, green, white, orange, and gray dial variants. Of those, only the orange dial version is sold out at the time of this filming. For what you get, I feel $450 is a fair price for this watch. Another value add that came with this watch was an extra branded silicone strap that I think looks good on this watch. That strap has quick change spring bars as well. I'm not sure if they're still including this extra strap though. In terms of negatives for this watch, really the only ones I could find are regarding the clasp. It sticks out a bit too much for my liking, and I found that the edges of the clasp dig into the wrist when it's rested upon a table or desk. Because of that, I wear the watch a little looser on wrists than I normally would. I also think the almost 14mm case thickness will be off-putting to some, but for me, I'm okay with it. So, in summary, this has been a great watch to own and have in the collection. I like the lume ceramic bezel insert, the sandwich dial, the strong lume, and the minimalist styling. Overall, it just gives off the impression of a higher quality watch. I enjoy wearing it, and it's only one of 2 non-Japanese brand watches I have in my collection. I don't have any plans on parting with it, so it's going to be a long-term member of the collection. I think Nodus will become more well known in the watch community as long as they keep on putting out unique and quality designs like this one. That'll be it for this video. I hope you found it interesting, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, or even consider subscribing. Of course, I wanted to thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in another video.